Welcome to Body by Design. I'm your host, Blue Driver, a women's strength training and metabolism coach. I went from years suffering hormone imbalances, looking soft and bloated, to symptom-free and building muscle for a toned athletic physique. Since then, I've made it my mission to empower women to take control of their own health, hormones and body composition. So grab a cup of coffee and let's build your body by design. Hello. Come on in, people. Grab a cuppa, make yourself comfy. I am just going to settle in and let a few people jump on board. I did put out short notice that I was going to do this live, but I've actually also decided to do this as a podcast as well. So if I'm not, I've got several different cameras in front of me because this is going to be packed full of information for you and how you can apply it to you in 2026. So if you are a woman in midlife, 40 plus, you've tried everything, you're in the gym, body's not changing, you feel exhausted, brain fog, and you have had enough and you just want it to change and you're tired of trying to Google and piece together Instagram posts of value and all this and make it all work, this is for you because to change your body literally takes a system. So let's get started. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. And for those of you who are around, my live on Instagram. So if I look like I'm looking in different places, I am, several cameras. So what I'm going through today is the process, my method of coaching and how I'm actually going to apply it to myself in 2026. So let's just go through a bit of history on me. So going back to what you see on Instagram, a lot of the photos from a photo shoot that I did and how I got that body in the first place. So right back in my early 40s, I was overly hormonal, always had been. I had suffered chronic thrush, endometriosis. There's a really big history there. Doctors on this medication for chronic thrush that cancer patients were on, doctors were like, yep, that's just your lot. Could never do anything for me. Really bad endometriosis. I'd had 5 or 6 laparoscopies for, I don't remember the number now. I've had so many. That never really helped, and just doing around a bunch of workouts in the gym. So I went from that to, I want to make this work. And the way I was training was very much I was training hard and with form, but I was missing some elements that I wasn't seeing progress with my body. And it wasn't until I married my nutrition and training in a way that supported me in my is that my body started to change. But here's the thing, when my body started to change, my health changed with it. In fact, that took priority. I no longer had endometriosis. I no longer suffered with chronic thrush with the way that I was eating. I had energy that would sustain throughout the day, and I just felt good. And, changing the way I did things, finally going, that's it. I'm going to make a change and committing to it really made a difference to not just my body, but my health. And we need to understand that the only way you're going to change your body to grow muscle and lose fat is to optimize your body first, right? Our body will hold on to fat. It's a biological, physiological built system from once upon a time when we were, in caveman days, safety. It's going to try and hold on to that body fat as much as possible when systems are shutting down. When you don't give yourself enough recovery and enough nutrition, that your body starts prioritizing the nutrients going in, that it will actually shut down other systems that aren't vital to your health. And what we need to understand is muscle is a metabolic and calorically expensive material, tissue in our body. So our body is not going to build that muscle if we don't optimize ourselves. So once I started actually optimizing my body through nutrition and training in a way that wasn't overburdening me and I could recover, my body and my health started to change. I had energy, my body changed, no more hormonal symptoms. And you've seen on Instagram, if you're following me at the moment, those changes that I had. Fast forward a couple of years, and I recently have hurt my back. So my body composition isn't the same as what it was in those photos. We know that. I've been on Instagram this year sharing my story. And for those who don't know, always had a bit of a dicky back, did it many, many moons ago before I knew how to lift properly. I actually did it in a pump class. I bulged a disc in my L5. Training correctly actually retracted that bulge and improved it, which was amazing. But in the time that it was bulged quite badly, that it put a lot of stress on that disc, the casing of the disc. And I've always had some issues on and off over the years. Went on a big trip to Europe, really long haul flights from Australia to Europe, a lot of sitting. I'm a bit of a bugger and I've learnt my lesson now. Sitting is quite stressful on your back. And I came home, started getting back into training, and it started with a niggle. It was kind of like, oh, I've got a niggle in my glute. I might not walk this week. I'll let that settle down. Foam rollering, some acupuncture, doing those sorts of things. Wasn't getting any better. Okay, I'll stop training. So there was no one incident, but it just got worse and worse. So what had happened was the stress from sitting for so long, my disc was just slowly giving way. And as it slowly gave way, the material from the disc came out and was compressing the nerve. And it got to the point where I literally could not walk. I was crawling to the toilet. You know, Dean was getting me in and out of bed. I literally was doing about 250, my tracking ring would say 250 steps a day. And that was just from moving to the toilet to the couch. I could not do anything else. I couldn't even roll over on the couch. It was horrendous. Doctors were ignoring it. It went on for about 4.5, 5 weeks till I finally got a doctor that would listen to me, scan. Went off for the scan, got the results, very severe rupture of the disc. Within days was in surgery in Brisbane. So I had to get down to Brisbane, had the surgery, new self. But this whole thing has had me out of training for a good 5 months, training properly. Okay. So in this process, because I haven't been training, I have lost muscle mass. Now, I have not gained any weight in this process. So from the injury and stopping training through to getting back into rehab, I did not gain any weight. I stayed at a flat 62.5 kilos. But my body composition changed because I was not growing muscle and the muscle started to deplete, obviously. It doesn't go away completely, but I did lose muscle and body fat started to rise. It was also a very, very stressful situation. So cortisol was high all the time. I did go back into adrenal fatigue in this time. So again, body wanting to hold on to fat and it's not going to prioritize maintaining muscle. One, you don't have the stimulus through training. And two, my caloric needs had really dropped because I wasn't moving, wasn't getting as much nutrients, volume of nutrients, although what I ate was really good, volume of nutrients going in to hold that amount of muscle that I had. So here we are, 5 months later, and now I want to change my body composition back. Recently, so I went through the whole rehabbing process. My body fat had started to come down a little bit. In the last couple of weeks, I've gone back to a normal training program and I have been bringing the intensity up, which is amazing. Then Christmas came, so I haven't really been tracking for the Christmas period because I kind of know what to eat. My weight since training with intensity has actually gone up about 1 kilo, but my body fat has not changed in that time. So it tells me that that's muscle mass. And I'm going to show you how I know that because I have been doing check-ins on a week-to-week basis since getting back from rehab. I went, right, about to start rehab. This is my starting point. I was about 20% body fat. And I think it was 49 kilos of muscle mass around there. I don't have those figures in front of me, but that's where it was. I have increased some muscle mass, but my body fat has started to come down some, but my strength isn't quite back to where it was. So I have been ramping up the intensity, and with ramping up that intensity, that's where my muscle mass has started to come back. And now doing Christmas, we've gone, okay, at the end of Christmas, I want to go back to being really specific because I now know that my training is pretty good. By the end of this festive season, my intensity will be back up to where it was with intensity, not strength. But intensity is what I refer to as how hard can I train? Am I training at my full muscular capacity? Is this my true strength base? So when I started bringing the intensity up, the first thing that happens when you start training or training in a way that you haven't done with intensity, or you start a new program, is central nervous system adaptation, neural adaptation. This is why you should not change your program every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, because it takes 2 to 4 weeks for your central nervous system to adapt. It also takes time for you to go, okay, this is a new movement. Am I doing this quite right? So it takes you a couple of weeks to settle into that, but your central nervous system also needs to adapt. So you'll find that there's big jumps in that time. So it feel really heavy and really hard, or you can't squeeze another rep out. And then the next week you go, fuck, where did that extra 4 reps come from? Central nervous system adaptation. It's not you using your true muscular strength at that point. When you get to the point where it gets really hard to add a rep or add a kilo, that is, and it's been about that 2 to 4 week period, that's where you go, okay, this is my strength base. This I've done with the central nervous system adaptation. And that's where I will be at the end of this. I'm almost there now. I can feel it. There's a couple of movements, a couple of my bigger movements, like my pendulum squat. I jumped again big this week, which was really, last week, because today is Monday. So Saturday, I saw a really big jump in that in kilos and reps. So I am still settling in on some of the bigger moves. The smaller movements, I'm at capacity with intensity, which is great. So I'm going to know what my actual strength base is. Now, I did a check-in this morning. Now, this is where the process happens, and this is exactly what I do with my clients. So the first thing I do is establish, okay, I'm going to start this process. And this week is where I've started. And I'm going to establish, where am I currently and where do I want to go in both my body composition and my health. So what's my skeletal muscle mass currently? What's my body fat percentage? Yes, what's my weight? That's important as well, but it's not the one we focus on. We focus on the muscle mass and the body fat because that changes the way you look. Is my sleep good? Is my energy good? Is my digestion good? Do I have mental clarity? What's my training frequency? What are my daily steps? When I get all of that into place and I can then go, okay, I know what that is. Now I am going to work out what calorie needs I need. So how many calories do I need to eat? So my calorie base has been changing. So at one point I was like barely 1600 calories. Then it come up to about 1850 where after the operation I was moving, but not moving a lot. Money walks come up to about 1850. I moved to about 2000 just before Christmas, just because I was training, not training, but I was doing the rehab and moving a lot more and back to my normal 1000 steps. So normally I'm about a 2350 calorie base when I've got my previous muscle mass and when I'm doing about 10,000 steps a day and training 3 to 4 times a week. So what are we doing now? Well, I'm still training 4 times a week. I am now doing my 10,000 steps. I've done my measurements and I know my weight. So what's my body fat and muscle mass, and how do I find out my caloric needs? Now, there's lots of calculators on the internet. You can go and find all of them. What I have been developing with Dean, which is something very exciting, is an actual app that we can use to calculate this, and it's going to be rolled out to all of my clients in the next month. So I'm super excited about it, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. And this will help you establish where you are and also what do you really want. So I'm just going to turn the camera around, right? This is high-tech stuff happening here. This is on my computer because we haven't developed it into an app yet while we're still making changes. Just need to, right, here we are. Here it is. And for those of you who are listening on podcast, I do video with the podcast. So you can go back, if you're listening in the car, you can go back and look at the video for this. You can also search me on YouTube. My podcast goes on YouTube as well. So there's plenty of places, or you can have a look on my Instagram and find this live. We can see here, my weight is now 63.4 kilos. Now, I've jumped up a kilo since my intensity has come up, yet I know that my body fat hasn't changed. It was coming down. It went from 20% to around the 18%. As I started moving again, the only thing that has come up is my muscle mass. I started at 49 before I started getting into rehab, and then slowly that's been creeping up. And I've seen this jump this muscle mass jump with my 1 kilo increase in the last couple of weeks. So I know that it's muscle mass and muscle stimulation that's happening and actually not body fat. So I've put on a kilo and I'm not worried about it. So I'm starting at 43.5 kilos. I'm 169 centimeters. My neck is 31 centimeters. My belly button waist is 71 centimeters and my hip is 82. Now, I do track more measurements than this. These measurements here are actually used in a calculation for body fat and muscle mass. There's lots of different calculations out there, but if you don't want to be going through the expense of a DEXA scan or an in-body scan all the time, this tool is perfect. The thing is you just want to be consistent in whatever way you track it. So I now know that my muscle mass is 52 kilos and let's just call it 18% body fat, okay? So I calculate the stats, gives me my muscle mass. I can log to history. So this is something that's going to be coming and it will actually log it all here. So you'll be able to see a trend in what's happening with actually a weight trend, a muscle mass trend, and a body fat percentage trend, and it will show it all there. Then we want to go, what do I want to be? Think now. I'm going to actually go here. I'm actually going to take this down to 60. I'm trying to do this on the computer as well as hold everything. Told you, great tech. So I think I want to be about 60. And then we go, what's my activity? I'm going to say moderate. When I am fully up in intensity and strength, active, so daily or intense, is what I choose. And these macros work out exactly for me. And like I said, there's lots of different calculators out there for the way they work out your actual activity, how much they apply that activity to you, the percentages of protein, fat, all that sort of stuff. Now, this calculator, I have found the best calculations, but also put in the parameters that I believe is best for a woman in midlife. So if you're 40 plus, this is going to be ideal for you. So I have put down that I have moderate activity at the moment because I'm not quite back to the intensity. What are my calories going to be? Now, I know it's normally around the 2350 mark. What is it going to be? So I'm going to do calculate my calories here. We're not, and we're going to go update. And down here, we now have my calories. So it's telling me I'm 2166. So about 2150 is what I'll call it at. Protein, 132, carbs, 274, and fat, 60. You do have the ability to manipulate these, and given I'm more advanced, I am actually going to give myself some more protein. I'll just drop my carbs a little bit and just give myself some more protein. That is for me personally. But when you're first starting in this process, these parameters are here and they'll actually put the protein correctly for you. It's when you get more advanced that you can actually play with these. And in my coaching, I've got guidelines on what we do to play with these. But this would be my starting point. So I'm going to establish that I have 2150 calories. That's my protein breakdown. Now, let's establish where we want to go. I know that I'm really happy at about 15% body fat. Currently, if I was to say 60 kilos weight and 15% body fat, it's telling me I actually have to lose a kilo of muscle mass. So this is where I want you to not get attached to the weight on the scale. And I'm not, I was just guessing. Okay. And I'm just going, okay, about 60 kilos, about 15%. That's where I'm happy. Okay, but what it actually is, I've done this already, so I'm actually going to put that there. My ideal weight is actually 61.2. It doesn't change my calories, gives me a little more protein, slightly less carbs, just because I'm coming up in my ideal body weight. Your protein should be based on your ideal body weight, right? And all I want to do is I'm good with my muscle mass. If I want to build some more, great. But right now, I just want to be looking at having good muscle mass and bringing my body fat down. Well, I know my muscle mass is pretty good, so I don't need to change my muscle mass, but I do need to come down 2.9% in body fat. And here's my new calories for it and protein breakdown. Down here, once you know this and you establish this part is for later on with your nutritional phase, which I'll talk about more in a little bit. But as you can see, this really helps guide you. It helps give you a better understanding of what sort of muscle mass is required, what that looks like in weight on the calculator, but it gives you a really close aim. If you're someone who doesn't have a lot of muscle mass, and you're putting your ideal weight in, it is likely to show you that you still need to build muscle mass, but it's going to tell you exactly how much. And we've got some demonstration photos of what you think you want to look like. So you would pick your body fat range. That's the body fat range I would like. And that will help set your muscle mass that you need to achieve that look. So you can choose it off the look, you program into your body fat percentage, and it gives you exactly how much muscle you need to build on and how much muscle you need to take off. Now I'm going to actually turn this around again. Okay, and set my tripod back up. If anyone's got any questions, drop it in the chat. I'm happy to answer them as I go along. So that is the establish. We want to establish where we are and where we want to go. So I know now that I need to drop about 3% body fat. And at this point, I wouldn't need to train on any more muscle. 52 kilos of muscle is actually pretty good. However, for me, the optimize phase is where it's going to come in for me. So I've established my caloric estimate of where I think I need to be to achieve that at the moment for maintenance. So when we go into our optimize phase, we want to confirm. So everything that is a calculator is always, it's a mathematical calculation, even a machine, it will tell you where you're at, but you need to know where you're going. All the calorie calculators, it doesn't matter which one you use, even mine, though it's pretty bang on, I can say, you do actually want to establish that truly is your maintenance. So part of the optimize phase is tracking your food at the calories and the macros that it's given you for a couple of weeks and going, do my measurements or my weight go up or down? And if your measurements and weight aren't going up and they aren't going down and you're maintaining, that is your maintenance calories for sure. You've confirmed it. Because when you go into, do I want to do a cut? Do I want to do a build? It's not based off of a number. Like you hear people go cut 500 calories or go to 1200. Like apart from that, the fact that those numbers are huge and ridiculous and they're not healthy, you actually want to work on a percentage of your personalized maintenance. That's why the optimization phase is so damn important, because the calculator, if you've got a down-regulated metabolic system, like maybe you've got really low body temperatures, fatigue is really bad, hormonal symptoms are really bad, when you do that first 2 weeks of tracking your weight and your measurements to find a trend against your maintenance, you might find that you're a little bit lower in calories. You might need to drop your calories for maintenance. All right. So because you've got a compromised metabolic state. And if that is the case, you would want to go, okay, I need to do some work in the optimization phase. Then we're also looking at what is our stools like? What is our digestion like? What is our sleep like? What is our energy like? What is our brain fog like? Do we have mental clarity? And if after 2 weeks you're still going, they're still a bit, you still want to stay at maintenance because you want to nurture your body before you go into any sort of restriction or stress. And let me be clear, a build sounds amazing, surplus calories. There's not many people that I deal with that come in needing a build straight up. That is for an advanced trainer. A surplus is for an advanced trainer, and putting excess calories into your body and making your body utilize those calories is a stress on the system. It's not just a deficit. A surplus can be stressful on the system. It'll be stressful on your digestion, and it's additional stress because you need to use those calories in the gym. You need to make them work to build that muscle. That's stressful. It's stressful building muscle. So maintenance is the best place for homeostasis in your body. So in that optimize phase, we want to go, what is your nutrition quality like? You're tracking. What is the nutrition of those calories now, those macros? Are they easy to digest carbs, grass-fed meats, protective saturated fats, seafood, dairy, everything that covers a whole wide range of nutrition? Are you getting liver and oysters? If you don't know about the liver and oysters, drop me a message in Instagram, liver and oysters, and I will send you information on liver and oysters. They are the whole foods multivitamin. All right. So are you doing that? I can say for me, right? I'm going to confirm my calorie maintenance. So I'm going to go through and do that process of 2 weeks at 2150 calories. Nutritional quality. Well, I know that the quality of my food is good. Currently, my digestion is under stress because I've been eating a lot more grains like sourdough bread, and though sourdough is wonderful, I know that personally I can't eat it every day. I can have it a couple of times a week. I can't eat it every day. So my digestion is under some stress at the moment. Like I'm feeling a little bit bloated and my motility is starting to slow down a little. I'm not constipated, but it is slowing down a little bit. Christmas is over. I'm done with that. I am back to what I know nurtures my body. So I am going to go back to those easy to digest carbs. The sourdough I will just stop having sourdough for the moment because that will help regulate my system. Carbs, plenty of carbs that are nurturing me, enough protein from grass-fed meats, wild ocean caught seafoods, things like that, plenty of dairy, my liver, my oysters, all of that will come back in, and I can guarantee you within a week, my digestion will be settled down again. So that's where I need to optimize. I know what to do. I know the foods I need to eat. That will optimize. If you want to know what foods are going to be best for you, message me, Optimal Nutrition, and I can send you the guide on that. Okay, so there's plenty of information around, but I'm going to optimize my nutrition because there is some for me to tidy up. The other one is nutritional regulation. So are we getting all the food groups? Are we not cutting carbs? Please don't cut your carbs. Your body requires carbs and the nutrition that comes from carbs. And I'm not talking about empty sugar. Sugar's not bad, but you want the nutrients from the great ripe fruits, rice, potatoes, squash, all those sorts of things that are really easy to digest, but great carbohydrates in your body. Not a bunch of salad and broccoli. That does not have carbohydrates. They're fine to eat, but eating them in excess will cause more digestion stress, but it's also fuck all calories and nutrients in it. Believe it or not, there's actually not much bioavailable nutrients in those foods. So you want to make sure you're getting enough carbs. Nutritional regulation. Are you regulating your meals to optimize your blood sugar? Because if you don't optimize your blood sugar and your blood glucose, you're going to end up with insulin resistance. Optimize that. Your insulin resistance will reduce. Your body will want to release fat because insulin resistance helps your body hold on to fat. The timing of food. Are you supporting your training? Are you supporting your body when you wake up from fasting, or are you leaving it in stress by not eating breakfast within an hour of waking? Nutritional timing in the sense that when do you expend most of your energy, and is your nutrition supporting that? Or are you eating fuck all for breakfast, training straight after, and then backloading your calories so you've got this massive dinner and then you're going to bed? That's actually stressful on the system as well. So nutritional regulation. My nutritional regulation is pretty good at the moment. I know what to do to eat with meals. It's just tidying up my nutrition quality in the sense that go back to the things that really support me. I haven't had anything terrible at the moment, just those extra grains. So for me, my nutritional regulation is good. It's just that quality, as in do the things that support my digestion for me in particular. For you, doing the nutritional quality and working out, tracking your food is not just about the macros and the calories. When you track your food and you track your digestion and how you sleep and your energy, that can actually be paired with how you're tracking your food and the nutritional regulation. And you can go, hey, I've actually worked out that sourdough doesn't agree with me. I can tell you two things that don't agree with me. Sourdough, I can eat, but I can't eat it on a regular basis, as in every day. I can have it every couple of days. I can't eat it every day. Gives me bloat, and I've tried everything. It's the wheat in Australia. It's fucked. My body doesn't like it. Even when it's a true traditional sourdough goes through a 30-hour process of rising, and it breaks down gluten, so it agrees with people a lot more. But for me, it's just the wheat in Australia. I can eat some, but not a lot. Pineapple is the other thing. I can eat a little bit of pineapple, but I can't eat a heap for whatever reason. My digestion doesn't like it. So it's about learning what optimizes your body, because if you've got digestive stress, there's inflammation in your gut lining. It prevents you from absorbing as much nutrients as you could be. When you have lack of nutrients, your body starts shutting down systems such as sex hormones, So you get hormonal dysregulation because it's shutting them down, because if you don't have enough for you, your body's not going to give you, like, prioritize making new life, is it? Which is your sex hormones. So that's just an example. If you want a podcast around the pro-metabolic nutrition, message me on Instagram. I've got a great podcast that actually talks about pro-metabolic nutrition and this theory around that, this philosophy that I'm talking about, your system shutting down and it prioritizing keeping you alive over building muscle and dropping body fat because it doesn't feel safe. So message me that. And then in Optimise, it's also established the training quadrant. I have a training quadrant. And if you are not getting results, you are not training right. You might show up to the gym every day. You might train hard. You might think you know form or whatever. I'm here to tell you, you don't. You literally don't. And that might grind with you when I say that. And you might be sitting there going, oh, I know how to train properly. Do you have the results that you want? If the answer is no, there is something missing. And there are 4 elements to training. And we are looking at execution, form. You might get results in the beginning, but then they stop, because if you don't have correct form, you're going to be capped at the amount that you can lift. All right. So, or you might get injury, or you might not be targeting the muscle group that you should be. So you're not getting the growth in the areas that you should. So that's 1. 2 is intensity. I'm yet to see a woman come into my program who's been in the gym and not getting results that knows how to train with true intensity. Watch my stories, go back and look at some of my videos. I train fucking hard. You need to train hard. You're stronger than what you believe. And a lot of it comes from belief. I've put up a lot of stories about women who have gone, look, I'm going to talk about one at the moment because she just before Christmas, she messaged me and went, oh my God, I'm deadlifting more than what my boyfriend weighs now. So she went from eyes bulging, oh my God, you're going to make me do a 40-kilo deadlift, to deadlifting 75 kilos for reps within months. September, she joined me. December, late September, she joined me. December, she's deadlifting 4 reps, 75 kilos, and it was a form and intensity issue with her. So intensity, you're always stronger than you think, so you want to nail the intensity. Progression. Are you progressing in your weights? Are you going up by reps or going up by weights each week? So people talk about progressive overload. There's different ways that you can progress, but at the end of the day, are you getting stronger, right? So we need to know, how do we progressively overload our muscles systematically in our training so we get progression? It's not just about progressive overload. It's how do we get that progression? All right. And recovery. Are you training in a way that you're recovering? I've had women that have gone from 3 days to training 4 days, and because it was an upper lower split, their body has just gone, nah, not recovering. And we literally watched their muscle mass starting to go backwards within a few weeks. And it was like, whoa, hang on, something's going on here. We left them at 4 days, changed their split, bang, straight back to gaining muscle. So if you're training 5-6 days a week, always exhausted, but you've got form, intensity, and progression, are you recovering? Now, I can tell you that in my 40s, my issue was actually this: recovery. I was doing literally 5 and 6 sets and exercise, and I had like 6, 7 exercises, movement patterns within each day, training 4 days a week. Can you imagine? But I was training hard and with intensity, and I had form, but nothing was changing. Why? Mine was a recovery issue. So I had form, intensity, and progression, but then my progression started to stall. Why? Because I didn't have recovery. So it only takes one of those 4 elements of the training quadrant to not be in line, and you won't be getting gains. All right. So if you are not getting change in your body, you are not training with the training quadrant. One of those elements are missing, and you need to get help with that. For me, how am I implying now? I am making sure that I'm bringing my intensity up and I'm monitoring my recovery as well. So this is what I'm doing in the first few weeks of the year. Finish getting my intensity up, because it's not quite there. I've just spoken about that. So it's not quite there. And then also ensuring I'm recovering from it. How am I going to do that? Am I still sleeping well? Do I still feel like I've got energy, like I'm not wiped walking out of the gym? Am I progressing? Can I get those extra reps, those extra weight every week? right? What's my soreness like? Am I like at the point where I'm so fucking sore every night I can't move? I might have some soreness, but not to the point where I can't move. So they're all things that can tell me I'm not progressing. And going back to the muscle mass and body fat is the key indicator. Yes, we're talking about our, how do we feel, but also what is the data telling me? If my weight is going up, but my muscle mass is not going up and my body fat is going up, clear sign that I'm not recovering. If I've nailed the nutrition, got the calories right, the weight's not going anywhere, but the body fat is going up, I've got a recovery issue. So for me right now, I'm working on the optimization phase for progression and recovery. So I've established where I am and I've established where I want to go. I've shown you that. My optimization is I want to confirm my new calorie maintenance because things have changed for me and I've lost muscle mass. Nutrition quality is I'm going to bring back online by just making sure I'm eating the things that agree with me. Now the festive season is over. Nutritional regulation, I do not need to worry about, but I will be getting extremely specific with my macro tracking. I don't have to track all the time because I've done this for so long. Tracking should just be a tool. And when you're maintaining, you shouldn't have to track all the time. But now I'm going to do a process. I'm going to go back to tracking and being very specific. So I'll make sure I'm very specific and dial in my nutritional regulation. And I'm going to go back to my training quadrant and make sure I'm nailing the 4 of them, 2 of which I have a focus, which is progression and recovery. That is my optimization phase. For me, 2, maybe 3 weeks. I'll be done. Okay. That's all I'll need. Some people need longer in this phase. So if your biofeedback, your sleep, your hormones and stuff aren't coming online, you don't want to move from this optimization phase. You want your body temperatures is another thing that I actually track with my clients. It is an indicator of your metabolic health. And if it's below a certain level, morning, just after lunch, and morning, mid-morning, so just after breakfast, and then we go to mid-afternoon. If your temperatures aren't rising through the day and at a specific point, then you have metabolic stress. So that's another thing that we can look at as well. So we want to clean all of that up and we want to optimize. Now, if you've been feeling shit and not getting results, your optimization phase is going to take longer than 2 weeks. If you're someone that's like, hey, I get results, I'm just not quite nailing them, you might do optimization of 2-3 weeks and be bang straight on. I know a lot of people that are already doing the pre-metabolic food. Their nutrition is actually really great. They just need nutritional regulation. They need to understand their own maintenance and they just need to tidy up their training intensity and progression. A couple of weeks and then we move on to the next phase. So it depends where you're at to how long you need to stay in that optimization. But if you try and force yourself out of optimization phase before you are ready, you will not get the result that you want. Okay, you need to understand that you have to spend some time optimizing. Even me, I've been doing this for years and I'm still going to come back and optimize because I'm a little gone off track a little bit. It's, I've been under stress. I'm not quite sure what my maintenance is now. I still have to go through this process. So this is a process that you can actually pick up at any point in your life. So say you've been maintaining for a long time, but maybe you've gotten a little bit, you've been out enjoying and indulging. It's been a, time of year where there's been lots of celebrations or whatever's been going on. And you're like, clothes are getting a bit tight again. All right, I want to rein it back in and I want to just, go, or maybe you've had an injury like me. My body changed because I wasn't able to train. Now I'm back to training, or now that life has settled down and my clothes are a bit tight, I do want to drop a bit of body fat. Or maybe you go, you know what? I actually really just want to pop my shoulders, or I really just would like some more glutes. I'm really happy with what I'm at, but I just want to focus on some body parts and make them pop a little bit more. So muscle manipulation, how do you want to design your body? You still go back to establish, where am I? What do I want? You still optimize. Let's make sure everything's absolutely nailed and locked in. Then next place we go to, Nutritional periodization. So based off of your establishment of where do I want to go is going to depend on what nutritional phase you're going to go through. So the nutritional phases we have is maintenance, which is where we're maintaining our weight. You may build muscle, but you're not losing body fat. Okay. Your body fat is staying the same. And the people who are metabolically under stress need to be here. Or you might be someone who goes, I'm happy with my body. I just want to maintain. Just want to know what those calories are to maintain. And that's fine as well. So you use those maintenance calories that we did in that first step of establishment. All right. But if you are not one of those people, or you are now metabolically healthy after spending time at optimization, you then go, where am I? If you're someone with a high body fat percentage, it's likely the first place you're going to need to go to is a deficit. Okay, so if your body fat is a little bit higher, you want to go into a deficit first. This is where maintenance comes into it. Your deficit should be 10 to 20% off your maintenance. Not cut 500 calories, not go 1,300 calories, all right? That's not how we do it. We do it a percentage off of your true maintenance, not the maintenance that a calculator set and then you went and dropped 500 dropped 10% off and you still didn't get anywhere because you found out you were metabolically unhealthy and that calculator was only an estimate and you skipped the optimization phase of confirming your calories. See how this can work against you? Oh, I'm in a deficit, but it's not working. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because you took it off of a calculator and you didn't confirm it. And you then go ahead and tell me, oh, yeah, my sleep's really shit. And, I feel really crap when I come out of the gym and I've got really bad constipation that I'm trying to work with. Well, you're metabolically downregulated. So that calculation you got from a calculator is likely less. So you think it's a deficit, but that less is actually your maintenance. Okay. So sometimes staying at maintenance to optimize. And you'll find that when you start optimizing, you might go, oh, I'm starting to lose weight. But you want to bring your base up. Keep bringing those calories up, because if you start at 1,800 calories, if you can't bring it up to 2,000 or more, for the average woman who's not a wee little thing, your calories really, anything under 2,000, you're not optimized and you're not training hard enough. Simple as that. So let's get you up to 2,000. So you want to build up in that maintenance phase. Recomp is another option. Now, if your body fat is fairly okay, you're just that, skinny fat, you're not overweight, but you just look soft, you may want to start with recomp. And recomp is just a smidge under maintenance and you train fucking hard. And what happens is the body fat starts coming down because there is a very slight deficit there, but it's not enough to say you're in a deficit. It's not, anything where you go, because if you go into a deficit, you shouldn't be for a prolonged period of time, no more than 12 to 16 weeks, depending on how your biomarkers feedback goes. Some people got to come out at around the 12, 15-week mark. Some people can make it to 16. It just depends on who you are. But you don't want to be there forever. Recomp, you can actually stay there forever. So you start at maintenance, you drop just a slight little bit, and then you train really hard and you just keep driving the training. And as you drive the training and your body fat goes down and your muscle mass comes up, your caloric needs naturally increase with that increased muscle mass and reduction of body fat, because muscle requires more calories than body fat, and you'll be training hard. So you'll actually naturally create a deficit in there. Then obviously there is a deficit or a cut that people call about. So that's where I'm talking about that 10 to 20% range. Usually you want to start a little bit lighter. So you've got, when you get metabolic adaptation within that phase, you've got somewhere to nudge it down. If you have been doing a build process, a deficit for you might be a mini cut, which is a 30% cut. And there's very few of you out there that I would be suggesting a mini cut to, unless you're actually gone through a process of working with me, because that is an advanced strategy. Okay. And obviously the build or the surplus. If you are really underweight, or if you've got really low body fat and you need to build some muscle, maintenance to surplus might be for you. Or if you're an advanced trainer that is already quite strong, if you're doing, 100, 120 kilo deadlift for reps, as a woman, a strong woman, right, that will get the body that they want, you want to be able to deadlift double your weight, squat 1.5 times your weight, and a bench move of your body weight at a 1 rep max. Okay. So we're looking at, if you could deadlift for reps 100 kilos, if you could squat for reps 70 kilos, and if you could bench for reps 50 kilos, that's great. Yes, you could be stronger, but you will have a body under there that you love. And if that is you and you want more muscle, you may need to go into a surplus. So what am I doing? That's all the things that are there. What am I doing? Well, I will be going, first of all, starting at, so I'm going to find my maintenance, and then I'm going to sit at a recomp for a little bit whilst I bring my strength markers back up. So I want to be pushing the same amount of weight as I was pushing before. That's for me. That's what I want. So my strength is very important to me and my markers are really down. For example, I just did on the pendulum squat, very humbling one, that one, isn't it? My peak, and I only did this for one session, then went to Europe and never made it back because I was coming back from Europe, trying to bring my strength back up, and then my back went. So it's been 6 months since I've been there, but I tipped one session for a full plate for reps. I think it was 6 reps or something. 6 reps, 7 reps, one full plate. So 20 kilos on the pendulum squat. Saturday, I did 12.5 kilos for 11. All right. So I've got a little bit to come back on that. I do have some neuroadaptation left in that one. So I'll bring it up to 15 kilos next week and see where I land. I think 15 kilos, maybe 17 and a half, I might be able to work with. But I've obviously got some strength left on the table there. My chest press move, I was doing 52 kilos for reps for about 6 reps on the bench, the incline machine. I want to get that back. I'm currently 35 kilos. So I need to bring that back up as well. So for me, I'm going to do a maintenance recomp type area. So I'm just going to sit in there. I think what will happen is I'll start at maintenance, and then because I'm bringing the intensity up and my strength will come back fairly quickly because I've been there once before, it always comes back quicker, that I'll get naturally pushed into a recomp because my caloric needs will become more. So I'll be starting at maintenance and watch and monitor myself to be pushed into a recomp. And then once I see that happening and I hit my strength marker, I will then do a deficit to bring my body fat down, that 3% that I want to bring it down. So that will be for me. And that would be a 16-week phase that I would do and see where I go. Maybe I need to pull out earlier because I get to where I want to be and I'm okay. Maybe I need to do the full 16 weeks. But for a 3% body fat drop, I should be able to do that in 12, maybe 16 weeks. And it won't be a hard one for me. It won't have to go to a full, I won't have to go full on with it because 3% is not a lot for me to drop, and my body naturally likes being down there. So that is that. And then once you've done your and for you, maybe your nutritional periodization is I need to do a deficit for 16 weeks, but I'm still not where I want to be. Okay, well, bring yourself back to maintenance recomp, work hard there for a couple of months again, and then go back into a deficit. You're going to have to, if you have high body fat, you're going to have to dip in and out, but you can't stay in a deficit. You have to have a plan of I'll deficit here, I'll come out and maintain and continue to build muscle mass because that's going to help you with body fat, but also it relieves your body. It stops your body going into excessive stress. Anything over 16 weeks, you are talking about excessive stress. And we're talking about, people going to stage bodybuilding, they do 6 months of dieting and it's so fucking stressful on their body. But what happens on the other side is that they have to reverse out. They have to correct their metabolic rate. They're in quite a bad state when they come out of it, no matter how well they do it. Some people are in a worse state than others. But, that takes months to reverse that. We don't want to push you to that point. So it'd be about 16 weeks where people start, that 12 to 16 week mark is where people start to fall off the cliff a little bit metabolically. So that's why we go, okay, bring you back. But you want to be back in maintenance for the same period of time at a minimum. If you're high body fat, you'll dip in and out a little bit quicker, but generally we're kind of looking at even time to keep bringing your body fat down at a faster rate, but also building that muscle as you go. So you can see there needs to be a roadmap or a plan. I'm not going to need several phases. I've done other clients where I've gone, right, establish you. They've gone, I'm here. I'm about 27% body fat. I'm skinny fat. I want to be under 20% and I want to look cut. Okay, great. So we've got to build some muscle. We've got to bring your body fat down. So they go into optimization. Once we go into optimization, we might strip their body, as long as they're healthy, strip their body fat back, right? Strip it right back. They don't have the look they want because they don't have enough muscle, but then that gives us a runway for us to push muscle mass. And we push the muscle growth anywhere from 6 months to 12 months, and then we do another deficit. I've just done a client, she did 18 months, and 18 months from back surgery. She did her rehabbing, so her optimization phase was a lot longer. She did her rehabbing with her physio and me combined. We worked on her form. She'd never lifted before. I hurt her back, not hurt her back lifting, by the way. It was a very similar scenario to me. She sat for long periods of time in a car, always had a dicky back, and it went just as we started, but not lifting. But she wasn't an experienced lifter. So we used that rehabbing time to work on form. She still had to do RDL. She still had to do glute leg bridges and all this sort of stuff. We just worked on form, and then she just started building up. When she got to the point where she was great and she was training with full intensity, back was good, we stripped her muscle fat back, so her body fat back, and then put her in a build phase. And then she's just literally done another strip back. Name's Mel. If you want her results, I'll send them to you. But she looks fucking amazing. 18 months. There were 2 deficit periods in there and a concentrated muscle building phase. And she is below 20% body fat now. She looks cut. She's got quads to die for. Oh my God. And that was an 18-month process, but it was a very defined, like, we laid it out, and she knew exactly what she was doing every step of the way. And she's learnt as she's gone along, and she's got the tools to do all of this herself now. And the last part of it is sustainability. So when you get to where you want to be, so you finish all your nutritional periodization and you want to just sit. Sometimes people just go, I'm sick of working on my body. I just want to sit and enjoy. You don't have to track all the time. You're learning that mindset of flexibility. So, I might, when I'm not tracking and working on something, I might go, hey, I'm going to go out for breakfast this morning. I'm not going to track, but I know I'm going to have eggs and juice and all this sort of stuff, and it's going to be higher in body fat. Well, I do that, but I drop my snacks for the day and I have a light lunch because, quite frankly, I'm full anyway. And then I just have a normal dinner. So I've got that mindset of flexibility that I don't need to go, oh, I went out for breakfast, I have to track all of that, and then I have to track this, and then I have to, I have to eat all my normal meals, and then you overeat. I find one of the things that people do when they go out, they go, oh, well, I don't have to track when I go out, but I still have to eat every single meal afterwards. Well, when you ate out, it was going to be more calories. That's not maintaining that. So it's having that mindset of how do I apply flexibility and the principles of macros and calories without having to track all the time. You just pull them in and out when you need it. You might go, oh, that's a meal I haven't had before. What does that look like in macros? How would that affect my day? That's all I do. Beginning of the week, I might do up a bit of a loose plan with what I'm planning on having for dinner for that week, or I might change a snack. Then I don't look at it again. So I just use tracking as a tool, but it's flipping your mindset around maintenance as well. Okay, you're not always trying to be in a deficit. You need to also understand that no matter how much muscle you've got, you can't just eat whatever you want, whenever you want, every day. Okay. If you're going out multiple times a week, you're going to have to pick and choose the ones where you indulge and the ones where you go, actually, I'm going to say no. Saying no is actually healthy boundaries. Okay. What does training look like for me now to maintain? All right. So these are all the things where you do a sustainability phase to cement everything that you've achieved and put it into normal life. I've certainly done a lot of that. So at the end of my process, I'll just go back into maintenance where I'm happy sitting. I'll still train hard. I'll still feel well. I'll probably grow a bit of muscle, great, but I won't be doing specific nutritional periodization. So that would be for me. So that's how I am applying all the principles of what I use for my clients. And as you can see, it's a very, very defined process. The last thing I want to show you is in my tool, sorry, my face right up there. In this tool that we're going to be releasing for all my clients, right down here where I was talking about what phase. So this is my maintenance. So if I'm maintenance, here we go. If I actually want to do a recomp, it changes my macros and my calories. There we go. I would be 100 calories less for me. If I wanted to go into a deficit and I'm going to say 15%, I'd be 1841. That's on the assumption that 2150 is my maintenance. My maintenance will come back up to 2300 before I even do a deficit because I will be working more intensely. Let's have a little look up here. If I did moderate and I'm changing my intensity like I spoke about before, what does it tell me I am? Oh, there you go, 2390. I said 2350 was where I was probably 2400. It's pinned me exactly there, hasn't it? And then, so if I come down here, if I actually do calculate calories, update, and then so let's go maintenance, 2390. If I want to do a deficit of 15%, before it was 1800, but because I've built my base back up, I can now diet on 2000 calories. How cool is that? How cool is that? And this here, you get to change this a little bit. Now, the fats here are pretty good, so I'm going to lock that down, all right? I'm going to use the lock. But this is where I was talking about where you're more advanced. So because I'm more advanced, this protein probably isn't quite enough for me because of the intensity and the amount of muscle that I've got, all right? When starting out and you're still trying to grow muscle, like you're under muscled, this is more than enough. The carbs are going to really serve you. But for me, I need a bit more protein. So I am actually going to take myself to 150. I feel really good on 150. It works well for me. See how I locked my fat? That was, if I'm on a diet, my fat's going to come down. So that's fine. It brought my carbs down automatically and kept my calories where they are. It just changed my protein and adjusted my carbs. I could also do it by, okay, I want to bring my protein up, and if I don't have either of them locked, it will reduce those equally by calories, both carbs and fat equally by calories. So you get to have a play around as you learn your body more, and you get the education around macros. And this is part of what I teach all my clients, and is what all these different things do. Fats are really, really important for hormonal health. We don't want to go below a certain amount. By the way, my calculator actually allows for that. It keeps you within the parameters that you need to be kept within so you don't drop your fat too low. You learn that carbs are really, really important around training, so we don't want to skimp on them. How much protein are we looking at? What sits well for you? So you get a lot of that education so you can make the choices around these and explore with your body as well. When you've got the education, it's about what works for you. I know a woman who trains really hard. She feels much better on a higher protein. So she's more up the 160 end. I just find it's a bit too much for me, and I need more carbs than anything. All right. So she works better on the 150, and she works quite well on quite a low fat. I still need a bit of fat. I find I get quite hormonal if I don't have enough fat. So these are all the things that I've learned about my body, and you can learn as well. But this tool will actually help you. So all my clients get access to that. Like I said, there are plenty of calculators out there that you can use. Just be consistent on what you use. And let me just put this back. Now, just be consistent with what you use in measuring your calories and monitor your feedback. Track the data. You want to track your sleep. You want to track your mood. You want to track your energy. Does your energy change in your cycle? Is it a hormonal issue? Or do you find that your energy changes through the day? So is it nutritional timing issue? Is it you feel flat all the time and maybe you just need some more fucking food underneath you? Is it a recovery issue? So when you're tracking the data, there's lots and lots of different things that we track. Let me just list what we track. Daily weight, so we can find your weekly average, muscle mass, body fat, all sorts of measurements from belly button waist, small waist, glutes, hips, thighs, neck, sleep, energy, steps, body temperature. What else do we track? There's something like digestion and hormonal symptoms. We track all of that, and we can see patterns in this when you do it for long enough. And it really, really does help you understand your body. So I hope this was really helpful for you. And yes, this is what I am doing. I'm going to be showing up on stories, showing you what I'm doing, what my results are as I go. As you can see at the moment, I'm 52 kilos muscle mass. I'm 18% body fat. My aim is to bring my body fat down. I know at this point when I do diet, I do lose a little bit of muscle mass. That's because I know my body and I'm quite advanced now. So I actually am going to push my muscle mass higher while I'm bringing my intensity and strength base back up. Once I get my strength base back up, my muscle mass should be up. So when I diet down, 52 kilos of muscle mass is good for me, and my body fat will come down too. Nola, I miss being in your program already so much. I love your work and I want to know what you're doing is a very good job. Thank you, Nola. Nola has been amazing. She came to me and I think she was doing I think it was like a 50 kilo squat. This woman is an absolute machine. I think we got to a 95 kilo squat for 6 reps. So strong. She's so amazing. And Nola knows the process now. Nola knows how to eat. She's helped her brother get healthier with better eating. She knows how to apply it. And she's off getting married in February. So good luck with your wedding in February as well. So yeah, Nola was beautiful to work with. And, she's not working with me now, but she's got the tools. She did the education and got the tools and she knows all about this data that I'm talking about. So use the data. Stop standing on the scale and freaking out. I've put a kilo on and I am not freaked. I've just done Christmas and not tracked a damn thing. And I can tell you, I have not freaked out about my body. Or have I been frustrated? Have I been sad? It's been very frustrating losing muscle mass when it takes so much to build that muscle. And I've worked so hard for it. So it's been super frustrating. And there's been some really hard times, especially when I didn't know if I was even going to walk normally again. Will I ever even train again? Very, very dark times. But never once did I lie there going, oh my God, my body is awful. Oh my God, I look terrible. I just went, my body fat's higher at the moment, but it looks so much different to what it used to be at this weight because I've got muscle underneath there. And I still just feel good in what I have and I feel vibrant and sexy and sculpted still. Yes, I like a lower body fat percentage, but I still feel fucking amazing. I just went to my son's graduation in Canberra, black tie event, and rocked it. It brings you a confidence. You can strut out there and go, yep, I feel great. And never once did I lie on that couch when my back was gone or after the surgery and go, oh my God, how will I ever get back there? When I went to Europe, I did not go, oh my God, what about my weight? Christmas came. Did I worry? No. The scale started going up when I started training again. Did I worry? No, because I have the tools to apply to take me to where I want to be again. One, I know why my weight is going up and it's not body fat, so I don't care. I've never worried about the fact that I lost some muscle mass and I put on some body fat because I wasn't training due to injury, because I knew that as soon as I got through the rehab phase and started training again, I know how to build the muscle with the 4 quadrants of training. I know how to nourish my body. I have the tool for tracking my muscle mass and my body fat to manipulate it and follow the process to get me back to where I am. And I am no different to anyone else. I still have to start again at establish. Remember where we went through all of this and we said we establish, we optimize, nutritional periodization and sustainability. They are the 4 steps you take when you make your plan. So what's your plan for 2026? And if you want a plan and you want a structure and you're tired of guessing and you want to use the data and you want something that you can take away as an education and apply at any time of life, just like I am. I've been there and I'm applying it again now. It works in all those circumstances. And when you have that tool, you have it for life. And if you want that and you finally want to get results, there's some of you I've been talking to for years in the DMs and you still do not have the result you want. 2026 is your year of the snake. We're shedding, year of the horse. I think we're going into the year of the horse now, which is about actually becoming. You need to become that person. And I have the tools for you. So if you don't actually have an action plan laid out for 2026, you're still not going to get anywhere. There's very specific steps. Your body is an amazing, intelligent machine. And when you give it the right fuel and oil and maintenance, it operates like a dream. And you just get what you need. Again, I never worry anymore about what my body looks like, because even though it's not where I feel best at, I still got a great body. I'm still rocking it and I know how to get back there. So I don't give a shit. I just apply my strategy again and I feel good. So if you want any help in 2026, my DMs are always open. I love talking to you all. For those of you who have joined me on my podcast, thank you very much. And until next episode, ciao.